All right, Ephraim, you are well known as a Lakers fan. So I'm going to throw something out to you. I can't wait to hear what you think about this. Now, as you know, I'm the co-host of First Things First, and we were discussing the Lakers and can they get Kyrie Irving? We know they would love a LeBron-Kyrie reunion. Kyrie himself has spoken wistfully of his time with LeBron, like he might be down for a reunion too. So with things going sideways with the Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie in terms of their contract negotiations, there's a lot of talk about can the Lakers get Kyrie, and it's going to be difficult, if not darn near impossible. But there is a trade. So we're talking on the show today, First Things First, about can the Lakers somehow get Kyrie. And my co-host, Nick Wright, who rarely has a good idea, but he did today, I think, he said he proposed this trade, Ephraim. Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook go to Brooklyn for Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons. It is my problem for your problem on steroids. All right. But I got to be honest, I kind of like it the more I think about it. I want to get your thoughts first, and then I'll share my detailed thoughts on this potential trade. I mean, I don't know that either team, it's certainly nothing in the works right now. I've actually been told Anthony Davis is going nowhere, so I don't think it's likely. But I think it's a good idea if you can't work things out with Kyrie. But what do you think?
I don't like that. I don't like that for the simple fact that I don't want to.
Now, are you talking strictly from a Lakers standpoint?
I'm talking strictly from an organizational standpoint.
Well,
right?
But I mean, Lakers or like, do you like Lakers, it for the Nets?
Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah, for the Nets, it's great. Right, the Nets are
even though they get Westbrook, a lot of people, that's the hang up with a lot of people.
They'll ship that out in a heartbeat. Right, you get rid of two headaches, two unknowns. Right, and we're talking about unknowns. Right, is Ben Simmons mentally going to be ready to play, or is his mind going to affect his foot next year? Right, is Kyrie Irving going to feel a certain way when Mercury is in retrograde? Right? And I'm putting him in a comedic form because that's how funny some of the things that he's doing seem. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, you can go to the extreme because you just don't know what he's thinking or what he'll do. Can't do that. Can't run an organization with someone like that in any business. Can you be an airline pilot and sometimes show up or sometimes be in a mood? Like you can't do it. And so to get rid of someone when they're healthy in Anthony Davis, who's unguardable.
Well, I
get it. I understand that.
He's hurt a lot too.
He is hurt a lot. His whole career, he's been hurt a lot.
So there's all questions surrounding all four of these players.
You're right. There are questions surrounding all four. But the one thing we know is Westbrook, he's going to show up. He's going to play. Anthony Davis, when healthy, he is a problem. Complements LeBron extremely well. They won a championship together. Now you bring two guys, one who doesn't shoot any basketballs at all, right? Last we saw him, he was passing up on dunks.
Right.
Doesn't want to go to the free throw line in crunch time. Can't have him on the court. And one guy is literally, he's dancing to the beat of his own drum, which is never a good thing in a team sport. So, yeah, I'll take my chances on trying to get Anthony Davis as healthy as possible and bringing Westbrook off the bench opposed to bringing in Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons.
Okay.
Was that compelling enough?
Look, you can't deny the points you made because as much as I like the trade for both teams, I did say on television today, the Lakers are taking the bigger risk. No question about it, right? Even though there's questions about AD's health, there's even some questions about his motor. Obviously, there are questions about Westbrook and how he fits. But the bigger questions are, to your point about Kyrie Irving. Yeah, right now he may seem like he would like to play with LeBron again, but how will he feel in 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
How will he feel in a year? And not to mention just maybe needing family time off. Maybe there's some type of national tragedy or disaster that goes on. Or he wanted to be at home, right, in Jersey/Brooklyn. What if he misses home? And so I agree with you. And Ben Simmons, of course, where's his mind at? My thought was this. The only place Kyrie has had team success is with LeBron. So maybe, especially being away from LeBron, having his battles and struggles, maybe he would be on his quote-unquote best behavior. With Ben Simmons, he's been a protege of LeBron's for the last 7 years or so. So if anyone can kind of get the best out of him, help him reach his potential, maybe it's LeBron. And what I've had to do, Ephraim, in having this conversation, because I talked about it on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon as well, most people have been hung up on Westbrook. They've liked it for the Lakers. They obviously like AD, if you're the Nets, getting Anthony Davis. But the hang-up has been Westbrook, and you said it yourself, they'll get rid of him. They'll cut him, buy him out, move on. To me, they'll keep him and play him. I mean, we're assuming that KD would sign off on a reunion, right? Even having this conversation. But if KD does sign off, KD can play with Russ. I don't think Russ is completely washed like some do. I think he's in one of the worst possible situations he could be in the NBA. We all knew it was a bad fit from the get-go, and that is why he played so poorly. And even as he played poorly, he still gave you 18, 7, and 7 as the definitive third option and shot one of the highest percentages from the field for his career. So I think it was just 2 years ago he was averaging a triple-double in Washington,
right, yep,
and getting them into the playoffs. So I just think in a different situation, Durant knows how to play off Russ. Durant doesn't need the ball to be dominant. And so and if it didn't work, you could cut him or you get rid of him after his contract expires in a year. But I think it might be able to work because, I think you will agree with this, Ephraim. Yeah, they never won a championship in Oklahoma City. But those were some very good teams.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons they never got back to the finals after their, early in their career was because KD was hurt, or different season Russ was hurt, or Serge Ibaka even was hurt in a close series. So if I'm the Nets, my ideal situation is working it out with Kyrie. I know he's mercurial, but working it out with him and going at it with Simmons, Kyrie, and Durant. But if we can't, I would consider this. But like you said, you don't want to like it from the Lakers' perspective, and I respect that. But are they going to be that good this year as currently constituted?
The Lakers?
Yeah.
No, you're running into the same problems that you had last year. If Darvin Ham can't get – the best thing for Westbrook is to come off the bench. He'll give a little pop to that second unit. But what you don't want him to do is mess up the flow of the game, right? A lot of those games, Frank Vogel was trying to get Russ involved and just trying to, even LeBron was trying to get him involved. When you take that off the table, right? Look, we're not going to set the table for you, okay? Just to make you feel comfortable, right? So you come in with the second unit, you can push the ball, you can play your game. It adds another dimension, right? But Frank Vogel didn't want to put him on the bench. He didn't want to sit him down. And so the first thing I'm doing is if he's going to stay on the team, I'm going to have a real come to Jesus talk with him. I'm like, look here, man. We can't ignore the problems we had last year, right? And you can point to your numbers and all of that, but what I'm going to point to is your plus and minus, your leading the league in turnovers. I'm pointing to those things. And as a point guard, I can't have that.
Well, I think the conversation starts here. Russ. And I'm real talk, because obviously he's got an ego. He's a Hall of Famer, top 75, all that. But if I'm Darvin Ham or LeBron for that matter, or AD, both of them if they go to him, what they got to say to Russ is, Russ, look, you've done everything you can in this league individually. I mean, you've actually done something that no other player in the history of basketball has done. And that's where, and quickly, just off a little tangent, we talked yesterday about Wilt Chamberlain not being in my top 10. Obviously, his statistics are through the roof. I mean, beyond that, right? Best ever. But you could make an argument. He's obviously not as good as Wilt Chamberlain was. But Russell Westbrook's statistics are, you could make a similar argument that this dude actually averaged a triple-double for 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. When only one other player in the league did it for 1. And so that's incredible. So I think you boost him up like, look, there's nothing else you can do individually. And the only way you're going to get, the only thing left for you to do is win a championship. And if you contribute to that championship, whether it's off the bench, whether it's as the third option, if it's averaging 15 points and 7 assists a game, whatever it might be, you're going to get major credit. You could average a triple-double here, and we don't get to the second round of the playoffs, and you'll get ripped. You'll get criticized. But if you play a role, even if it's off the bench, and we win, you will get incredible praise for doing that. And your value, if it matters to him, your legacy, Ephraim, I think, would go up. That's where I would start with him, and saying that in some form or fashion.
That makes sense. Is he willing to accept that though? Right? You know, ego is you see it all the time in players, man. We saw it with Carmelo. We saw it Allen Iverson. Like, guys can't let go of what it was.
Right. Iverson couldn't do it. I'll be honest, I've said that about Westbrook. I don't think.
I mean, Melo was out of the year. Melo was out of the league for 2 years.
Right. It took that to humble him.
You know what I mean? And it's hard.
Remember, yo, P, they want me to come off the bench.
That was funny, right? In the press conference, it was like, okay, you done laughed yourself right on out the league.
But look, here's another, and you'll understand this being a former player, basketball player in college. Sometimes your game is your game. Right? Can Russ even play a different way?
No, that's why
because he don't
playing off the ball. He can't be in the game with LeBron. Like he can't play off the ball.
Right.
Where's it that? Where are you gonna find that game all of a sudden?
Right. Nah, it's real talk.